My name is Danny Shirley. I'm the singer of Confederate Railroad.
So with Confederate Railroad, it's a sound that blurs Southern rock and country music. It's also a sound that's not only loved, but I feel rare these days. Can you explain that? Why is it that the music that I love, you're one of the few vestiges that's still doing it?
Well, I don't
Like
know.
the real deal.
We,
You know what I mean when I mean the real deal?
I do.
You're
I
the
do.
real deal.
Well, I think a lot of it was, coming up working with Co and Paycheck. I had that background with them. What made me a country music fan, as I said in the show, was that old outlaw movement, the Waylon, Willie, Tom, Paul Glazer, and all. Got to know all those guys. And before that, though, before I was a big Waylon fan, at my age, I'm 61 years old now, and it was Southern rock. When I was in high school,
Of course.
early mid-'70s, that's why we lived for
It's
Southern rock
electrified
around
country.
here. And if you listen to that stuff now, it would come out as country music probably. And I guess just the influence of all that together just kind of developed our sound.
What do you see when you look at Nashville right now? It might be a loaded question, but someone
That
that
doesn't
actually...
bother me. Every generation is going to have different influences. Like I was saying, Waylon, and then another rock side, Skinner, Charlie Daniels, Marshall Tucker, all that stuff. But these new guys, you got to think, 25, 30 years later, they were listening to the Beastie Boys, and that's where the rap stuff started coming in and stuff like that. So it's a whole different set of influences.
But at the same time, it's more pop influenced than country influenced.
When I'm in my truck, driving down the road, I listen to music that is the music that made me a country music fan. I go back and listen to all the outlaw stuff. I listen to Vern Gosson, Conway Twitty, Merle Haggard.
Well, I'm a Webb Pierce, Kitty Wells.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
Yep. And it was great music, And these guys, a lot of them are still making good music. A lot of the new guys, but with different influences and their own take on it. I know a lot of people in my era don't like the new stuff. And honest, there's some that I like more than others, but there's still good country music being made out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, I play devil's advocate with this question. Sometimes when I say, man, that's a badass country act, someone says, no, that's Americana, because they shove it over there as like a catch-all, you know what I mean? To keep it away from the pop.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Like Jason Isbell, Chris Stapleton. For a long time, Chris Stapleton was in the dark. He was in the background.
Yeah, sure.
And Sergio was in the background. And now you can't ignore it to the point where...
I think one person that made a big difference that opened a lot for Sturgill and for Chris Stapleton, Jamie Johnson.
Big time.
I love Jamie Johnson music.
Big time. Definitely.
That was some of my best. I was excited when I heard that first album. It's like, oh man, this is so good.
So what does that mean to you, though? Because the whole time this is going on, people go, oh my God, thank God country's back. It's like, well, Confederate Railroad never left.
It doesn't mean anything to me. I've been around so long. I don't, regardless what the trend is, or I've got my fan base, and we still do 100 shows a year.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is anyone I've ever interviewed and asked similar questions, they always say like, I just stuck to what I did, and people come and they go, but the core is always there.
Yeah. And another thing about this new stuff, I like it. A lot of these new guys would come to me talking about, like Luke Bryan. First time I met him, he said, man, if you only knew how many times I've been sitting on the riverbank fishing, listening to Confederate Railroad CDs. And then Jason Aldean, Georgia boy. We used to play his hometown of Macon every winter, a big club down there, just like an annual thing for us. And he came to me and said, me and my buddies were too young to get in, but every February we'd stand outside the back door and listen to your show because we're such big fans. And that means a lot to me. And that's real cool because I remember going to Waylon saying, man, what made me a country music fan,
Well, what do you think about that when people look at you as a pillar of the genre?
I don't know. You should have set your sides higher, I think.
No, but I mean, you came up respecting the legends, and now you're the torchbearer, one of them.
It's very cool. Yeah, I really love hearing that stuff.
What do you think about that responsibility?
No, I don't see it as a responsibility.
But you're also holding true to the tradition,
Well, me and George Jones, I opened shows with him 20 years. We traveled together. He was a big help to me when I went to Nashville. And when I was making my first records, he said, do what you like doing and you'll do a better job of it. If you do something that the record label tells you to do the way they want to do it, you're not going to last. Yeah. He said, it won't be as good as what you could do on your own. And he said, just do what comes natural to you and hope they find a market for it. And that's what I did. And fortunately, I did find a market for it.
Yeah. Well, when you're up there these days, I mean, the road is grueling. I've been on the road as a journalist for 15 years now, and what keeps you going? What is it that you love about this?
We actually really enjoy it. I've been out here for 41 years now doing this for a living.
How old are you now?
I'm 61.
Okay.
And I'm about to turn 61. And it's one of those deals where the whole time you're gone, you count down the days you get home.
Yeah.
And then after you're home for a certain length of time, it's like, I need to get out of here. I got to get back on the road. Yeah. So we've just done it for so long that it's just second nature. I can't imagine ever coming off the road totally.
Yeah. Now, turning 60 as of last year, do you see any change in your mindset and how you view the industry and just your own personal, any full circle moments?
Well, once you hit 60, you can't even pretend to be young anymore. That's like the gateway.
But music doesn't have a time, you know what I mean? Music's timeless.
Well, like I said, I toured with George Jones 20 years. He worked till he was 80. Me and Charlie Daniels have worked together for 20 years, and he's 80 now.
Yeah.
Coe is 78 this year. So I don't see it as a time limit on it. As long as you're able to do it, you just keep going. As long as there's people that still want to come listen to it, and I feel pretty good about our situation because you have some young people that were in diapers when we did those first records. They come to shows and sing every word. Well, so I feel pretty good about it.
Well, I also feel that those people I feel like there's this new revival towards respecting those groups that might have disappeared in the 90s and early 2000s. Like with the whole pop scene that showed up. I feel that people are realizing now, like, well, wait a second, where are the real deal folks?
Well, that and plus when I was talking about Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean, when people find out that music that we made was what made them country music fans, that makes them kind of, well, let's check this out, And so we've been fortunate that a lot of people have gone back and found this. We have people come up all the time and said, I was raised on your music. My mom and dad listened to it all the time. And I've had, at one show, I remember Chicago years ago, had 4 generations there. The great-grandparents, the grandparents, parents, and the kids. And all of them were singing along with us. So I feel pretty good about our future.
But you've already had such a great career at the same point,
Yeah, but you don't want to
everything now
stop.
is a cherry on top.
Yeah, pretty much. But it still means a lot to us. We came out with a new album, "Lucky to Be Alive," last year. It's the first new studio music I've done.
So what
in 15
does that title
years.
mean? I want to ask you about that one.
Well, that kind of has to do with age and perspective and everything. We are still fortunate to have our health, still have the as many dates as we get and everything. And the way I wrote that album, when these young guys started coming to me, talking about growing up being fans, I thought, well, maybe I should write something and pitch to them, which is something I'd never done. To start writing this new album, and a buddy of mine at Sony hears about it. He says, I heard what you're doing, so why don't we just make a new Confederate Railroad record? So, at 60 years old, just out of the blue, get a deal with Sony Records. It's just unreal.
Well, how do you avoid becoming a nostalgia act? Because when I watch you up there on stage, it's not a nostalgia act. That's a real fucking band. You ain't playing the hits and going through the rhythm. There's actually a live wire that's still going through there. I
think it's just that we still enjoy it so much. We're not tired of this music. We're not tired of being on stage. We don't get up there just for the paycheck. We truly enjoy it. When you start playing music as a kid, you get a guitar, you learn to play music because it's fun. You get together a couple of buddies, put together a little band because it's fun. But then you end up, you wake up one day, you've got hit records, you're a corporation, you've got 50 families depending on you get up and sing every night. You're dealing with media, you're dealing with legal affairs, you're dealing with the label.
Responsibilities.
And you can lose some of the fun out of it. But if you're fortunate enough to make it through all that and still keep working like we do, it's like you get to go back and do it for fun all over again. And I have as much fun now on stage as I ever did. I enjoyed this just as much as I would have, 20 years ago, 10,000 people out here. It's still fun.
Well, my final question is, all the decades you've been performing and all the places you've seen, what does that touch about what it means to be a human being?
Oh, gosh. One thing that's helped us, that's a roundabout way to answer the question. I saw Coe and Paycheck do things that didn't help their career a lot.
Yeah.
And I told everybody that worked for me when we got that deal with Confederate Railroad, I said, our attitude toward people can either double the length of our career and cut it in half.
Yeah.
I said, as long as you're having hit records, you're going to get all the work you want. But once those hits drop, like eventually everybody's does, then you find out if you have a career. So I've been hard on everybody that works for me. You shake every hand, you sign every autograph, you take every picture. And the lesson is that all you got to do is be nice to people, and it comes back on you.
Yeah.
You just got to be a good person. And I believe in karma. Every
Big
religion
time.
in the world,
Big time.
every religion in the world has something about karma. You reap what you sow, or what goes around comes around. And I'm a firm believer in it.